showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the show where I talk about my movie nights. Last time we watched the Dead or Alive trilogy, so let's talk about it. So when you watch, like, a Charlie Kaufman movie, right? You go, oh, this is brilliant. This is high art. This is smart and thought-provoking and well-made and well-crafted. It is filmmaking elevated to another level. But when you watch Dead or Alive, you go, this is the greatest movie ever made. Because it fucking is. It's not smart. It's dumb as a box of rocks. There's nothing to take away here. But it's so fucking awesome. It's such an awesome movie. It's so insane. It's so positively batshit. Like, if I described the plot, it wouldn't seem that great. Because plot-wise, it's basically just a gangster movie. You know, there's this gang, this criminals in Japan, and they're going around committing crimes, and then there's a cop, and the cop is trying to track down the criminals to stop them from doing crimes. Very basic, very boring. This movie is not that. This movie has so much insane shit going on constantly. This has, like, the greatest opening of any movie I've ever seen. It's like this, like the climax of The Godfather, where they're going around executing all those people. It's like that, but times 1,000. It's that scene, but there's metal music playing the whole time, and every single person they go kill is doing something insane. Like it starts with them throwing someone off a building. That's the first... Well, okay, the first shot of the movie is them, like, looking directly into the camera and, like, Dead or Alive. 3, 2, 1. And then the movie starts. First scene after the title is someone getting thrown off a building, and then you've got guy in a strip club, guy fucking another guy in a bathroom, a guy eating, like, 8 bowls of noodles in a row. He's just noodles after noodles after noodles. And then you've got a guy doing, like, a 20-foot long line of cocaine. It's the greatest. It's like, and he has it on, like a Hot Wheels ramp into a shelf. So he just, like, snorts all this cocaine and shoves a shelf over at the end. It's the greatest fucking thing. It's so awesome. I love this movie. And it's not as high energy as the opening for the rest of the film. But it's still wild. It's still out there. Someone gets drowned in shit. So that's where this movie goes. It's pure fucking insanity. It's so good. I love it so much. I feel like I got too excited and just, like, explained the whole movie, and now it's like, well, now I have nothing to say because I said all of the exciting stuff that I love and I'm excited about. What else do you say about fucking Dead or Alive? It's Takashi Miike film. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Takashi Miike. It might just be Takashi Miike. I think I've heard it both ways on that one. Takashi Miike, known for Audition, Ichi the Killer, couple other fairly popular movies. I mean, he's directed, like, over 100 movies since he started directing. So, like, I don't know, if you watch a lot of Japanese movies, odds are you've run into a Takashi Miike film. Dead or Alive is probably my favorite of his movies. I do really like Ichi the Killer, but and Blade of the Immortal. That's sort of one he's less known for. 13 Assassins, that's another one he made. I'm not as into 13 Assassins. It's like the first half of 13 Assassins is just Seven Samurai. It's just the plot of Seven Samurai again. And I'm not even, like, a huge fan of Seven Samurai. But then the back half of 13 Assassins, it's like this 30-minute action scene of them just, like, killing people. And it's really good. Like, there's times I feel like action scenes go on too long, but somehow Takashi Miike made this like 30-minute action scene, and I'm like, it's good. I love it. I love watching it. So I might recommend skipping a bunch of 13 Assassins. It's worth the ending, but the first little bit of it is a bit much. I mean, especially if you've seen Seven Samurai. Like, if you've seen Seven Samurai, you already know the plot to 13 Assassins. Just an absolutely crazy director. He's made some wild movies. Audition was the first movie I've seen from him. I feel like I've said this on the show before. Audition was the first movie I'd seen from him, and I didn't like it that much when I saw it, but I feel like I need to revisit it now, just with a little more context for his movies. Because, like, so many of his films are tinged with this, like, comedic edge, right? And my impression of Audition was that it was very dark and very dreary, so maybe if I go into it thinking of it as a little more comedic, I'll like it a little more. Dead or Alive is very funny. It's a good comedy. Good comedy, good action, high energy, insane movie. Positively love it. It's interesting, Takashi Miike, this is definitely an action movie. He says in Japan he's far more well known for his action movies than his horror movies, but when he comes to America, everyone's like, oh, it's famous horror director Takashi Miike. Probably mostly because of Audition. Also, Ichi the Killer is... could go either way. There's a lot of action to it, but you could also read it as a horror movie. I don't think it would be misplaced in the horror category. Dead or Alive, blatantly an action movie. Not even horror at all. I don't know what else to say about the first Dead or Alive. I think I've said it all. It's great. I love it. It's so much fun. Dead or Alive 2, Birds. Dead or Alive 2, Birds. Or is it just Birds, singular? There's only one bird in the movie. Yeah, birds. It's birds plural, but there's only one bird in the movie. So I don't get that. I mean, there's birds in the background of shots. It's not a super consistent theme of the movie. I take it back. Near the end of the film, the two main characters sprout wings. But they kind of look like angel wings, not like bird wings. There's no suggestion that the two characters are supposed to be birds. They're like angel wings. But maybe that's why it's called Birds. I don't know. Takashi Miike is weird. The Dead or Alive series is weird. Much like the Man with No Name trilogy from Sergio Leone. My camera angle's a little off. Much like Sergio Leone's Man with No Name trilogy, this is 3 sort of related movies, but not perfectly related movies. Like, the same actors appear in all 3, and they're very tonally similar, but it seems like the characters are different. Because in the first film, see if I can find the actors' names on the back here. Riki Takeuchi and Shao Akiwa. Riki Takeuchi and Shao Akiwa. I hope I'm saying that right. So Riki, in the first movie, Riki is the gangster, and Shao is the cop chasing him. But in the second movie, they're sort of friends with each other. Like, they were childhood friends, and they sort of reconnect over, like, both being assassins. And they like, throw back to their childhood memories. And in the first movie, the film is pretty much entirely supposed to be taken literally up until the very end. Like, the last scene is sort of surreal. Which, I mean, it works for the tone of the film. In the second movie, a lot of it is a lot more surreal. it's hard to sort of place what is reality and what is not. I did kind of like the second film. I would say it's probably my least favorite of the three. It, in places, it feels like it's sort of trolling you. Like, you're familiar with Dead or Alive. Here's Dead or Alive 2, and then it's just, like, mocking you for expecting anything like Dead or Alive 1. Because, like, I mentioned the opening scene of Dead or Alive. So insane, off the wall, tons of action, and then Dead or Alive 2 starts off just with, like, two guys in a bar, and one of them is, like, playing with cigarettes, making them fight each other. And that's how the film opens. Like, there's not even, like, a shootout till nearly halfway through the film. Like, really plays off the expectations set up by the first film to sort of go, you thought it was gonna happen like it did in the first film, we gotcha. But, on the other hand, I kind of wish it did happen like the first film. Yeah, Dead or Alive 2, it's a lot weirder, a lot harder to follow than the first film, and it's not as fun, not as action-packed. It's interesting, certainly. I would say watch Dead or Alive, and if you like Dead or Alive, it might be worth looking at the other two sequels as well. But that's, like, no guarantees for the second and third one. They're fine, but the first one is the good one, and the other two are like, okay. Dead or Alive Final, the third film in the trilogy, is kind of... I don't know, in some ways they've cranked the insanity up, but also, like, it's... a lot more of it is to be taken literally, is to be a part of the story, than the second one. The second one's a lot more surreal than the third one, but the third one takes place, like, 200 years in the future, and Japan is, like, you know, post-apocalyptic wasteland. The Shao's character is now a robot. I think they call them replicants or something. I think they do call them replicants, like in Blade Runner. If it's not replicants, it's some other term they used in Blade Runner for the robots. So, sort of Blade Runner-esque in that sense. But, you know, like, he's a robot, so he has all these crazy powers. He can, like, dodge bullets and, like, spin them around in midair and whatever. He's, like, working with the resistance in this town that's been overrun by, like, this evil big bad guy that, Riki from the other two movies is working for. And the big bad guy is, like, drugging all of his citizens and making them do bad things. So, the resistance is here to, like, take him down. And so Shao and Riki end up facing off with each other. And there's a scene near the end that almost implies that, like, the first two movies didn't happen. Like, they were just... the part of these two robots implanted memories or something. And I kind of don't like that. I don't like the suggestion that the first two movies just didn't happen. Fuck them. That's not into it. I'm not into, like, ooh, it didn't happen at all as a reveal. That's an annoying reveal. It was all a dream. Stupid, obnoxious. I hate it. I think it is a lot more in the spirit of the first movie than the second movie is. Because there's a lot of action, a lot of, you know, shootouts, a lot of wild stuff. It's not as fun as the first movie. It's not as over the top, but it's enjoyable. It's fun. I liked the third movie. Again, that's going to be my recommendation. Watch Dead or Alive. If you like Dead or Alive, then maybe check out the other two. Like, I mean, that's how you should usually approach a series. There are very few series I would say, skip the first one. But, like, in this case, yeah, Dead or Alive, and if you like Dead or Alive, maybe check out the other two. Dead or Alive is just the best of the three by a pretty wide margin. Dead or Alive Final is not super well preserved, it turns out, which is a weird thing to say for a film from 2002. But part of the problem is it's a Japanese film, but characters also speak English and Chinese. So there are hard-coded Japanese subtitles. So for the American Blu-ray release, put out by Arrow Video, very nice Blu-ray. Can't wait to look at the special features. Well worth it. Got this nice box art. For the American Blu-ray release, they had to sort of put the English subtitles over the Japanese subtitles, so it looks kind of ugly. And also, like, I guess there are, like, scenes from the original that were, like, cut from the theatrical release, but were on the DVD. So all we really have is, like, a DVD rip for certain scenes, because the original is, like, lost. I don't know. Not a well-preserved film, considering how recent it is. And that's the Dead or Alive trilogy. First one's great, second two are interesting. I don't regret showing them. I'm glad, they are well worth seeing. Were well worth seeing as a fan of the first film. But I don't know, I probably won't revisit the second or third ones, whereas I am very, very likely to revisit the first one. I mean, this is the second time I've seen it, so obviously I am willing to return to it. So, Lino, who's quite a regular, suggested Dario Argento's Three Mothers trilogy, Suspiria, Inferno, and Mother of Tears. Although he says, maybe nap through Mother of Tears. I haven't seen Mother of Tears. I have seen the first two. I've seen Suspiria and Inferno. And there's stuff I like about them, but I don't think they're, like, great movies. They're okay. I mean, Suspiria I like a little better than Inferno, but Inferno I kind of want to revisit, like, high, because it's a wild movie. There's lots of, like, weird colors and weird visuals in Inferno. So I think that'd be an interesting one to revisit. The climax is really fun. I really like the climax to Inferno. But overall, not my favorite trilogy. I'd say it's probably pretty unlikely that we're gonna watch those three. Although, it could happen, maybe. If I did do that, I might not show Mother of Tears, since, like, it doesn't seem to be as well received as the other two. And it came out, like, 20, 30 years after Inferno. Inferno was 1980, and I don't think Mother of Tears came out till, like, 2008. So there's, like, a 30-year gap, almost. I might show the remake instead. The remake I really loved. The remake was really good. Of Suspiria. And it used the lore of Inferno, and even Mother of Tears a little better than I think Inferno did. Nuno Q Ramalaho. I hope that's not their real name and I just butchered it. I hope that's just a screen name that I butchered. Recommends Nicholas Winding Refn's Pusher trilogy. I am a fan of Nicholas Winding Refn. Impressively touching crime series, he says. I'm a fan of Nicholas Winding Refn. I haven't seen any of the Pusher movies. It does seem a little serious, a little dramatic for this show. I prefer sort of weird, wild, fun movies, and I'm not above a more dramatic film, or even, like, a fun film that has its dramatic moments, but I don't know about showing, like, something too serious. Maybe. I'm not saying no, I'm saying maybe. Probably what would happen is I would watch the first Pusher movie on my own, not as a part of this show, And if I like the first Pusher movie, sure, we could do a triple feature of all three if I think it's right for the show, but I probably will check out all three on my own eventually. I'm just not saying it'll happen on this show. And Puppet Shilo Zapped has quite a few recommendations. The first three Muppet films, I think this has been edited. I think he said any of the Muppet films at first. The first Muppet movie is great. I don't quite remember Great Muppet Caper, but I remember that being the other one I really liked. I don't recall any of the other Muppet movies being that good. I wasn't a big fan of many of them. Although, Muppet Treasure Island, great fucking soundtrack. Love the soundtrack to Muppet Treasure Island. The three best known Monty Python films. You can just say the three Monty Python films. I know there's a fourth one. It's and now for something completely different. But that's just sketches from the show strung together for a feature-length release. It's not. It doesn't really count as a movie. There are a few other movies that have been labeled Monty Python in other regions. Off the top of my head, A Fish Called Wanda and Yellowbeard are both Monty Python movies in other regions, even though they don't star all of the Pythons. I love Holy Grail. I love Life of Brian. Not a huge fan of Meaning of Life. I probably would not show Meaning of Life. I am willing to show the other two. Great movies, although I do also kind of want to highlight, like, lesser known movies. I mean, I'm definitely going to show plenty of very popular movies, but, like, everyone's seen Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I don't think I know a single person who hasn't. What I might do is, like, Holy Grail, some other Python-related movie, and then Life of Brian. I have Jabberwocky, I think. And that's, hold on, where's that? That is Terry Gilliam. Yeah, Terry Gilliam, Jabberwocky. So maybe Jabberwocky and the other two Monty Python movies. The first three live-action Superman movies. Let's pretend Quest for Peace doesn't exist. You gotta get to do My Girl Supergirl like that? Supergirl's hilarious. Supergirl is a terrible movie. And also, Superman 3, it's not good. Like, honestly, I almost prefer Quest for Peace just because I can laugh at how bad Quest for Peace is, whereas Superman 3, it's like, there's nothing to laugh at. It's just bad. It's just kind of bad. But the first two Superman movies I do love. Unlikely to make an appearance on this show because I have two rules and one of them is no movies over 2 hours, and that movie is so fucking long. Jesus Christ, that movie is so fucking long. Both of them, both Superman movies. God, my camera's dead, and I don't want to charge it. There's like 2 minutes left in this video. There's fucking 2 minutes left in the video. I'm not putting my fucking camera on the charge for the last 2 minutes of this. He also recommends 2 anime series that I am not familiar with. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the titles. I just butcher them. I would show some anime on the show. I would do an anime movie triple feature. Maybe if there was, like, a reliable way to get a hold of, like, Vampire Hunter D. I've been meaning to watch that. And I could pair that up with some other anime movies. I'll look into the 2 that you suggested. And lastly, he recommended any of the Pink Panther films. Which, very high likelihood of that, because I am a big Peter Sellers fan. I have a Peter Sellers movie I think would go good with the Pink Panther movies. Because I haven't seen any of, like, the original Pink Panther movies with Peter Sellers in them. Would not show the Steve Martin movies. Absolutely not. Not happening. Peter Sellers, maybe. I would say pretty good likelihood of Peter Sellers, actually. So, this week my question to you is going to be, what movie do you like that you constantly have to clarify what you're referring to? Because there's another film with almost the same title. Like, I'll go ahead and spoil what mine is. It's Noah Baumbach's Kicking and Screaming. Because there's Noah Baumbach's Kicking and Screaming, and then there's a Will Ferrell comedy also called Kicking and Screaming. And so you always have to clarify which one you're referring to. Because honestly, the first time someone recommended the Noah Baumbach film to me, I'm like, that fucking Will Ferrell soccer movie? What are you talking about? That movie's terrible. So, tonight's triple feature is going to be Night of the Demon, alternatively titled Curse of the Demon in America. It's a British film called Curse of the Demon in Britain, Night of the Demon in America. Night of the Demon in Britain, Curse of the Demon in America. Then we're going to watch Night of the Demons, plural, and we're going to end with Night of the Demon from 1980. 3 completely unrelated films. And in fact, there's another Night of the Demon that I didn't even include from like 2009. It might be a remake of this. I don't think it's a remake of this, but it could be. I've never seen it. So that's next time's triple feature. Night of the Demon, Night of the Demons, and Night of the Demon. And until next time, have a nice day.